Lights, camera, action.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the newest horror film called Whistle. So I heard this movie premiered at Fantastic Fest last year, and I think it was the closing film of that festival. And from everything I heard, people said it wasn't all that great. So I pretty much went into this with very low expectations because I was like, well, maybe I'll be surprised by it, but it's one of those things that you never know how it's going to go. So yeah, I just tempered my expectations and went in, like I said, with pretty low ones. And this movie's it's okay. So this movie is brought to us by the guy who gave us the first Nun movie, Corin Hardy, I think's how you say his name. Which, to be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of the Nun movie or the Nun movies in general. I think they're okay, but they're not the best part of that Conjuring universe at all. The only reason I have a lot of enjoyment, really, kind of for the first one, is because I saw it with some friends that just made the experience fun and funny, and I have a lot of memories attached to that. But working trying to watch it by yourself, I'm kind of like, yeah, this movie's okay. So I was curious to see what he would maybe bring to something else outside of the Conjuring franchise, and like I said, this movie at the core of it, it's just okay. So this movie is essentially about these group of teenagers that find this Aztec death whistle looking thing. I think it is an Aztec death whistle, and once they blow it, they can start to see signs of death and something is coming for them. And it's almost in the same vein of like It Follows, with the fact that only they can see what's coming after them, like nobody else can see it. So it's got a little hint of that, but obviously It Follows is a lot better than this movie, but it has a bit of elements of that flavor of those movies that we've seen plenty of times, where a group of teenagers finds a cursed object and then things start to follow them and they start to get picked off one by one. That's essentially what the gist of this movie is. Now, starting off with some of the positives that I liked about this movie is I really enjoyed how it looked. I think it looked visually appealing. It's very visually beautiful to look at, very appealing to the eye. And the same way with The Nun, it was really pretty to look at. I think some of the stuff that this director is able to do, I think he's a really good director. I just wish that he would be able to get better stories. He didn't write this one, at least not that I know of. I don't know if he co-wrote it, but I'm pretty sure he had nothing to do with the writing of this movie. Just don't quote me on that. But I just wish this director was able to do something else with a little bit of a better idea or story that would really give him a chance to shine. I'm not trying to like shut him out by any means, but I want him to be able to do something to where this really cool idea that he can take it and really show us what he's capable of. I think he has that in him. So I hope somewhere down the road he's able to come across some kind of project that lets us, get to see that from him. Visually, there is really one kill in this movie that is really cool and really gnarly. Maybe borderline on two. There's another one that's kind of gnarly. But those two kills are really cool. That's probably going to be the big legacy of this movie, is that one particular kill. Like I said, the other one, it kind of leans on. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pretty gnarly, but the one that I think it will really be, like I said, talked about is the one big kill that I don't want to give away, and it's really well done, really effective, and really makes you feel those phantom pains of wincing and just being throughout so while you're watching it. So I give it kudos to that. I just wish all of the kills that were in that was really creative. Because based on what is coming after you, without giving anything away, I think they could have had a really cool idea that they could have ran with, that could have led to better kills overall and better, the way, and all that good stuff. But I just think that that one standout kill will be the one that is talked about the most, and I really wish we were able to get more in the vein of that. But sadly, we just got one, slightly, like I said, slightly two, because there's, like I said, the other one's pretty gnarly. So I'm gonna go with slightly on two good kills. Now that was kind of really it for me on the positive side, and I hate saying that for movies, but I have to be honest. And as for everything else, while I did enjoy the acting, I like Daphne Keene, who plays X-23 in the Marvel Universe and all that stuff, and Logan. She's pretty much our lead protagonist here, and she's really good with what she's given. I just feel like she's not given enough, and that's the same with all the characters, because by the end of this movie, you really don't care about any of these characters. Like they're given like a little bit of backstory, but it's very skin deep. There's nothing to really get you to latch onto them or really care about them. I think Daphne Keene's character is the one that we know the most about, and even with her, it's very, very little. It's given in these hints throughout the movie, then finally she gives a little exposition to another character a little later in the movie, and it's very just bare bones and skin. There's really nothing there. There's nothing there for me to latch onto. But with that being said, I still liked her character, but she was really the only one that was kind of the anchor of the movie. But I still wish there was more there, more for me to kind of sink my teeth into, to really kind of grasp onto her character. As for the other characters, you don't really know nothing. You know absolutely nothing about them. So essentially, these are those type of characters or teenagers that are set up in these movies just to be cannon fodder. They're there just to die, and it is what it is, and that's all there is to it. I think the story overall is lacking a lot of tension. I throughout this entire movie, I did not feel any tension whatsoever. I was never scared, on the edge of my seat, none of that. So it really lacked a lot of that. There was a few like creepy moments with some of the apparitions that they see, but it was very, very quick and like just super done and over with, and you see something and boom, it's there. Like others, they tend to like stalk them a little bit, which again kind of leads into that It Follows type vibe of the movie. But I wish it kind of did a little bit more with that, more of that, to kind of lean on the more of the tension in the movie a little bit, more of that. Give us more something to where we're waiting for the buildup of something to happen. And this one's just very quick to the point, and like I said, even the points where these characters are supposed to be in peril, you don't feel nothing. There's a scene near the end of the movie that kind of creates this ticking time element, and even throughout all that, I didn't feel any tension whatsoever or none of that. And I hate that in these type of movies, because I want to feel something. I want to be so invested in the movie that I'm on the edge of my seat, and sadly this movie didn't give me any of that. This movie, I'm not one, when it comes to movies like this, I'm not one to really try to question logic a lot of the time, because I just like to have fun with movies like this. But in this one in particular, there's still something I don't understand about the whole curse thing, and it might be something I missed in the movie. I'm not 100% sure, but to me, it's weird how in the beginning of this movie, a particular character gets a hold of this whistle, and as soon as he blows it, within 15 minutes, he's dead. That's it. Like the thing comes, gets him, and he's killed. But these other characters, when like our teenage characters, when they get a hold of it, it likes to stalk them and kind of play around with them and just show up here to kind of taunt them of what's going to happen to them. And I'm like, okay, so why did it kill this particular character so early, and then it just kind of play around with these other characters? I kind of didn't understand the lore of that. Like I said, I don't know if that was explained. This is the same with another movie where certain character is looking for answers and goes to another character who has a huge exposition dump for not only her but for the audience. And so she explains all that, but it's still, from what I remember, there was still nothing in there about why it just chose to kill this particular character like almost immediately. And no, I'm not talking about there is a kill at the beginning of the movie. I'm not talking about that kill, but I understand that kill, because obviously that character has had the whistle for a while. Again, another thing to my point, it seems like he's had it for a while, and when this other character, after our intro and all that stuff, gets a hold of this whistle, like I said, he's dead within 10-15 minutes. But then, like I said, our teenagers are just kind of stalked and tormented by it until it finally does go after them, and you're just kind of like, well, but why did it kill him immediately instead of playing with them like it did the teenagers? But that's just one of those weird things. Like I said, I try not to look too much into it, but that's something that really stood out to me upon this first watch of it. And I also feel like this movie, without giving anything away whatsoever, I feel like it could have been a little bit more deeper on what it wanted to say. It could have really kind of gone for something to say, which I'm not saying every single movie has to have that. I picked up on a little hint of something it's trying to say, of you can't, something I took away from it, of, being like you can't outrun your fate, and all that stuff like that. It's one of the things I picked up. And not every movie has to be like these layers with all this stuff to say and whatnot, but I feel like a movie, when it has that, it gives you so much more to latch onto. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of movies I go for just for fun. I want to turn my brain off and have a really good time. And that's exactly what you can have with this movie. But I feel like for these entities that are after our characters, without spoiling anything, with what they were going for with that, I feel like there was a little bit more they could have done with that. I feel like they really could have dug deep and really kind of explored more of that with our characters and really kind of gave us more to chew on with that. But there's really, like I said, this whole thing, not only with the characters, but I feel like the story just goes skin deep and it really doesn't really ever dive into much or really try to delve into much. And especially coming from like Daphne Keene's character, I feel like we could have done something really, really cool and really, there was something there. And like I said, it's bare bones and we don't get a lot of it at all. I just really think at the end of the day, having something in there that was a little bit deeper would have really brought something special and unique to this movie and really would have made it stand out among just being another generic one of those movies of, oh yeah, again, teenagers find a cursed item and that's it. And sadly, that's what we got. And like I said at the beginning of the review, this is a movie that you've seen a million times. There's nothing about it that really makes it stand out or that it's going to make it special by any means or anything like that. It's just one of those movies, if you're a horror fan, that I know that you've seen a million times. And I think in this subgenre of this teenagers finding cursed items, blah, 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 I think there's better ones out there. It's not my favorite subgenre of horror, but I think there is better ones out there that do it a little bit better or a little bit on the creepier side and maybe, have you at least care somewhat about the characters. Most of the time they're pretty, generic and whatnot, but I just wish this one was something more to it. Because I think the concept of this one is really, really cool. I really like the whole thing about this Aztec death whistle, and I like the whole thing that it supposedly summons and these entities that are after you and all that good stuff. Because like I said, without spoiling anything, I think what they could do with the entities going after these people, because what they kind of represent, I think they could really have had a really, really deeper meaning to the story at the end of the day. And this is coming from somebody that I love slasher movies. I love 80s cheese slasher movies. So obviously, not every movie has to have some kind of deep psychological meaning or any of that. I like to go to the movies and just have fun too. I love, that's why I love 80s slashers and whatnot and stuff like that. But I just feel like for a movie like this, it's like if you're going to do something in the genre of this and have this, stuff that's after you, I was like, just try to do a little bit more with it. Don't just make it bare bones and generic like every other million other movies we've seen out there. Bring something different to it. I want to see what you're going to bring to it that makes you stand out among everybody else. And it's not in this movie at all. Same way with the kills. I know that I mentioned earlier that there's one kill in particular, possibly two, that really stand out. But all the other ones are really just, there's no oomph to them. There's no that was, it's something that will easily be forgotten. It's nothing really to make it stand out. Now, like I said, I wish that the other kills were up to par with the other one. I think at least if you would have ramped your kills up and had one on the same level as that, I think that would easily have, pushed this movie at least another star for me, because if you have that, a lot of that time it really makes up for lack of characters or lack of character development for that matter or anything like that. And I feel like, you didn't even give us that or deliver on that part. So it's just kind of a bummer. So at the end of the day, this movie, it's all right. It's okay. There's, like I said, there's nothing special. Nothing's really going to stick with you, maybe other than the one kill. But if you're just looking for a movie that you can go see to turn your brain off and you just want to watch it, this is that movie. But I would recommend waiting until it came to streaming. I think it's going to be on Shudder. Shudder picked it up, so it is going to be on Shudder at some point. I don't know when. It's not one I would really rush out to the theater to go see, but by all means, I want everybody here to, obviously have their own opinion. Don't listen to me, I'm just here to give my opinion. I encourage everybody to go to the theater or go see a movie, regardless what you think of my opinion or anybody else's opinion for that matter. Go see the movie for yourself, and this might be one that a lot of people walk away from and be like, that was actually great, I love that. Maybe they will get something out of it that I didn't. But thank you, everybody. That's my review on Whistle. If this is the review you're finding me on, please come over and check out all my other videos so far. I have a pretty good backlog for 2025, and I'm starting to grow my list for 2026 as well, so love to have you over there. We try to have fun. If you have seen this movie, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it, because I'm curious if people really enjoyed it or had fun with it, or if they've just left pretty disappointed and was like, it's fine. And, it's one of those movies that I've seen a million times, but I'm curious what you thought about it. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That way I can see all of you in the next one. Thank you so very, very much.